Well, we should be worried about this. I'm really worried about it. These are mass bank spying powers that we defeated under the Tory government just a few months ago that have been immediately reintroduced by the Labour government, even though they were criticising them in opposition. And it means that all of our bank accounts will be constantly spied on for no reason, under the premise of looking for welfare fraud. And it's important to say, obviously, we all want fraud to be dealt with, and the government already has really strong powers to investigate the bank account suspects of fraudsters. But this is specifically for where there is no suspicion of fraud. So it turns the presumption of innocence on its head. It will take away and end financial privacy as we know it in this country. It's an outrage.
Is it just going to be focused on people, well, you would presume it, would it simply only be focused on people who are claiming benefits?
Well, that's a lot of people in this country, and it also includes pensioners, disabled people, carers. The banks don't have lists of people that receive benefits, and if they did, we'd have a kind of second-class banking system. That would be something else to worry about. But what this means is then that anyone who receives a benefit payment will be under extra targeted monitoring. That's not just actually claimants, because parents of disabled children can receive their benefits, and indeed landlords can receive housing benefit on behalf of their tenants, for example. So we are going to see a lot of mistakes. We could see Horizon-style injustice, because all of this will be administered by algorithms. It is a Tory plan that failed under the last government, brought back from the grave, and it's no wonder that, frankly, people feel like not much in this country has changed.
Yeah. I mean, you did mention pensions, which is obviously a big slice of the welfare budget. I mean, there's not much so far that makes us look like Labour have got a problem with pensioners, so they're probably right. But now you mentioned the fact that defeated before but have to try and defeat it again. The trouble is, look at the numbers you're up against.
Yeah.
In terms of getting something through Parliament, it's really easy with a majority like Starmer's got.
Yes, and that's what makes this really, really worrying, because it is a complete step change in this country. I can't emphasise what a change it is to not have financial privacy, to have extreme investigatory powers over your bank accounts when there is no suspicion whatsoever. So we have a petition running. I would urge anyone who cares about this to go to stopbankspying.com, where we're running a campaign. We have to fight this fight, and I think all the public, members of the public that care about this should take action, say something, do something. We will have the fight of our lives in Parliament, and also the courts if we have to.
Is there any way around it? I mean, I know this is not a consumer feature, but, you know, do we just use cash or barter with chickens? What's the way to not have your bank account spied on?
Well, it's really hard. I mean, everyone, you know, practically you need to have a bank account to receive benefits. And so there is kind of no real escape from this. This will affect the entire British population. And I'm sure there will already be people watching this worried about, can I save up for my kids' Christmas presents? Well, how much can I have in my bank account? What if I get one of those letters through the door saying you're under investigation? So, you know, this will cause a huge amount of anxiety, and for the pensioners who, as you say, already have been under attack by this government, it needs to be stopped.
So one of the ones that's talked about a lot is universal credit. You can't have more than 16 grand in the bank. As it is at the moment, I suppose you're not like going to be monitored to the £1 over, but with the new system, is that the worry, that it would simply be 2 cheques get cashed at the same time and it can suddenly end your benefits?
It could be, but also they're going to be monitoring things like how many weeks have you spent abroad. Under the last government, you know, we're still waiting to see the details of these plans, but under the last government, the criteria that they were looking for was secret. So we wouldn't even have known exactly what was going to flag someone for a review. But we do know that already that there are hundreds of thousands of people who are wrongly flagged for benefits reviews because of the algorithms that DWP have started using. Add population-wide bank spying into the mix, we're going to have a real problem. So the best thing for the Labour government to do would be to U-turn on this immediately.
This is going to be a dumb question and totally unanswerable, but I feel the need to say it. How can you have a system where the criteria that's being checked is secret? That means no one knows what you failed at.
Yeah.
It seems absolutely ridiculous.
It's completely Kafkaesque. I don't know, do you choose Kafka or Orwell? Because, you know, this is a surveillance state on steroids. And, you know, Keir Starmer is a lawyer. Not only is he a Labour leader, he's a lawyer. He knows that there is no other power in this country where you can do such an intrusive investigation where there is no suspicion of wrongdoing whatsoever. This is a complete step change. And so if in the first 100 days of government he's prepared to do that, what else is coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, I mean, I know there are rules in place at the moment to do with tax, that if you are suspected of doing some sort of dodgy tax thing, then your bank accounts can be looked at.
Yeah.
Is it not like a copy of that? Is it vastly different from the powers that are already...
It's completely different. Those powers, quite rightly, already exist with regards to welfare too. So that, you know, and as a welfare claimant, you have to periodically provide bank statements and give it all kinds of bits of evidence whenever DWP demands it. This is completely different. This says that constantly, on an ongoing basis, the banks will be looking into all of our bank accounts and then send flags to the government for the government to pursue investigations. So it also means that the banks are being deputised as part of this surveillance machine, which comes with its own dangers because, you know, do we really want the banks looking at what we're spending on such a level to the point where they're trying to trigger criminal investigations? The repercussions of that, especially when they're then presumably trying to create subsets of benefits claimants. And as I've said, there are multiple reasons that will go wrong. For example, landlords who receive benefits payments. This is a really, really dangerous, slippery slope. And the other thing that it could do, if landlords now feel that they could be spied on for having benefits recipients in renting their homes, it could decimate the housing market for people in receipt of benefits who already really struggle to get a roof over their heads.
Yeah, I mean,